What is up, players? It is HG Dan back again with my flappy hair, if you remember the last video. If not, then there's a link up which explains what dual universe is. So what are we going to talk about in this video? Well, quite simply, I asked the community, what are some tips that you would tell your past self when you first started playing, that I can share them with new players? So that's what we're covering in today's. I think it's today's. I don't know. I've been playing this too long. I've not looked outside. Don't tell my mum. She'll probably watch it anyway. But whatever. I will speak to you in a minute. What's up, players? Yes, it is HG Dan, and I am back, as I said, with a tips video for people that are just starting in the beta. So what is it that we're going through? We're going through some basic stuff, some quality of life tips, some stuff about the tutorials, and we also have some extra little bits of nuggets of information which are just going to snap look at some talents, flight, and various other bits. Now we are going to do some more in-depth videos about talents, and we are going to do some more in-depth videos about crafting and various other bits and pieces, but I just wanted to make sure that you guys know some of this information when you get started. So as you can see, I am sitting here in front of my speeder, which is a speeder that you get right at the beginning of the game, which leads us neatly into the first tip. So real basic stuff. Don't use your speeder until you get to Sanctuary Moon. Seriously, hang on to it. So what I mean by that, this is Sanctuary Moon. This is our lovely planet that we're on. We have our little this is where we arrive on Sanctuary Moon. Now Sanctuary Moon is the first planet that you go to when you are just starting out. You've done all your tutorials on the main planet, and then you go to your Sanctuary Moon to claim your hex, and you can build your safe base. Now Sanctuary Moon is exactly a sanctuary. If you did see the last video, then this is the planet that you go and you claim your one hex that is safe. You can leave all your real valuable stuff here, you can leave everything here. It can't get destroyed, it can't get looted. It's your safe space. Okay, moving on to other planets, it starts to get a different matter, but you can see that this is quite a huge area. So if we zoom right in, you can see that it is all divided up into hexes, and here is my little green hex there. Now this is where the main port is that you come into. I'm sure there's others that are dotted around, but when you come onto Sanctuary Moon, you will land at a port similar to this. As you can see, the hex is in purple. Now what that means is I had to go from here all the way to here. Now that doesn't look like a lot in this map, however, getting to about here took me 20 minutes. So that's going to take me about an hour on my speeder. Now luckily the friend that I was playing with, he's got a bit of a faster and better ship than I do. So in fact, let's show you, because we can. It is here, and that shifts considerably faster than my little speeder here, despite the fact it's called a speeder. So make sure to keep hold of your speeder, because you might not have a friend that's got a nice fast ship. So if you build your speeder on the other planet and then you come to Sanctuary Moon, you're going to have to take a a close hex rather than go exploring, which is fine, you can do, but you're not going to be able to. Just save the speeder is what we're saying. Anyway, that was just the first tip. So second tip, if you have lots of random, I'm using my friend's base here, so ignore the names. If you have lots of random stacks, for example, let's just create some random stacks. So here, if you go into some storage, you've got a lot of like random stats, stacks like this. As you're just going in, you're coming and dumping a load of stuff into a container. What you can do is you can right click on an empty space, go to stack all, and it neatly puts everything into stacks for you. So that's another quality of life tip for you that's really helpful to use. And we've got a network error, so it is still beta and we will still have bugs. So I'm just gonna log back in, but let's move on to another tip. So there are tutorials as you when you start playing, there are tutorials, and the tutorials are, just listen to them, okay? It does cover a lot, and it's not just text based. There is a voiceover that does do the tutorials for you, which is much better than just having a wall of text. If you do like your wall of text, there is a transcription in the chat box as well, so that's also very cool. That's really well done. But moving on from the main tutorial, there's sort of like extra bits that specifically go into mining, industry, crafting, building and piloting and all that sort of stuff. Now it's definitely worth doing these tutorials. Do make sure to do them, because you get some instant talent points, and you also get some extra cash. Not only that, but you also get taught how to do stuff like mining and how to do piloting, because there's a lot of extra stuff into piloting. It's not just about zipping around. There's stuff that you probably need to know. I mean, the speeders are quite forgiving, but the bigger ships are, there's more factors that come into play. So I'm going to cut this now and I will speak to you in a second. Okay, so welcome back. Well, it's not really welcome back. It's been a second or two for you, but for me it's been an eternity. It hasn't at all, but whatever. So moving on, let's have a look. What have we got? What was I talking about? I think I was talking about the speeders, and no, it was talking about the tutorials. So yes, make sure to do the tutorials. Spend some time before going off anywhere and just try and do the tutorials. Now, something to bear in mind, at this current moment in time, there is a bug around some of these tutorials that currently that might mean that you lose some stuff in your inventory. If that happens, just log out, log back in. It is a bug that's been reported, so don't worry too much about that. It's just a little bit of a inconvenience at the moment, but it is something that will start to get better. So moving on to some extra tips around the speeder. So going on to the map, which is M, you can either press M or you can press F4. Go to constructs. What you can do here, you can see the speeder. Now if for whatever reason you are a long way away from your speeder, what you can do is you can go right click and press fetch. Now I'm not going to do that now because I'm obviously right next to it. What that will do is that will bring your speeder to you. Now however, some things to be aware of is make sure you read the dialog box, which, let's see if it will come up. So make sure you read this. You must be in a clear area, so there's no constructs or foliage in your surroundings. You must be on a flat area. You must aim skywards with your avatar. Just make sure to do these. If you don't do these, the fetch construct should appear airborne near you. Okay, so make sure to just go through and read this and have a look at this. Something else that has been reported is make sure you don't do it near any built up areas like the districts and the marketplaces and such, because obviously, as it said in the error message, or not the error message, the dialog box, don't do it in a built up area. You have been warned. So there's a couple of other things as well. There is an image like this that if you see this when you're looking down, don't move for several seconds or you might fall into the ground. This is a bug that's been reported at the moment, so just be aware of that, ladies and gents. It's been reported again, so at this moment in beta, just be aware of these things. So some talent tips. This is going to be a glimpse at some of the talents. Okay, here you can go into your talents by pressing F2. This is your talent screen. Now, as you can see, you've got radar, weapons, ammo, crafting, element, health points, industry, mining and inventory, and piloting. Now all of these have lots of extra little bits in as well, and you can see that there's lots of different things along here that you can have, which really go in depth into what your character is good at, what you can do. We're going to do a proper video on talents at a later date, but this is just some stuff to get you going when you first start playing. Start learning about static cores in your talent tree early. Now if I can remember where this is, architect, I think. Yep, so if you go to mining and inventory, you go to architect and go to your core unit upgrades here, upgrade some here, and also your static core and dynamic core units. Now what these are, this means that you can effectively use more static cores. Now what is a static core? Let me show you. This little box here is a static core. Effectively, if ever you want to do any building, you need a static you need a core. This is a dynamic core, which effectively means you can move it around. A static core, I'm not sure if my friend has his on display. There will be effectively a static core somewhere around here. Now what that does, it gives you a platform to build on. Let me show you. I can show you where there's a static core because I've started messing around building my base. So I'm just going to fly over so that we can show you the static core. So start learning more about static cores, because you can at the beginning only have 1 or 2 cores, which starts to become a bit of a pain when you want to start building bits and pieces of information. So I'm just gonna jump out here probably a little bit too quickly and show you this static core. There you go. This is a static core. That's for building your bases, and in your vehicles you need a dynamic core, and they do come in various sizes, so the more research you do into it, the better. So going back, 1 or 2 levels should be fine, should be sufficient just to get you started. Shouldn't take you that long. By the time you finish your tutorials, you should have enough talent points to probably buy this outright. So if, for instance, you can invest points, and then what you can do is just spend the amount of points up here. As I said, we'll go into this in a more in-depth video about talents at a later date. Next sort of tip, take 5 to 10 minutes looking through all of this, all of these different options that you have, and then you'll be able to pick what it is that you want to do more in depth, or have a better idea. Make sure to queue up talents before you log off. So you can see that I've got a load of talents queued up. I've got 9 hours and 43 minutes until all of them are complete. If you're going away for a few days, queue up for like a week. I've had up to 30 hours queued at one point, and I'm finally down to single-digit hours. This is just stuff that I've spoken to my friend about, and we've sort of like said, okay, well, I'll focus on this. Okay, cool, well, I'll focus on this, and we formulated a plan, and we're getting through it. So queue up a lot. Always have something queued. What have I done? A lot of talents excuse me, a lot of talents correspond with something. So for example, in the mining, let me find some mining. You have mining range, mining optimization, scanner upgrades. Now these correspond with the scanner here. We'll do a mining video if that's something you'd be interested in. Make sure to comment below what it is that you really want to know about, what you want to learn about, and I will do a video on these things, whatever it is that you want to You've got your scanner range here, and then you've got sort of your mining range, or whatever it is that you want to mine. So that is some talent. So it's just a matter of working out what these things correspond with as well. Team up with others again with your talents. I've kind of touched on this already. If you get into an org, maybe you want to formulate a plan over who specializes in what early, rather than just be a jack of all trades. Nothing wrong with being a jack of all trades. You will end up being some sort of jack of all trades at some point, but if you have an idea of things to focus on sooner rather than later, it might benefit you in the long run. So what else have we got? So we also have mining. So your mining is, again, you can use the middle button for automatic mining, scanning, and no need to get hand injuries. Now, I'm not 100% sure what this tip means. As I said, this is sort of like a number of tips that have been given to, like that, I suppose. I just pressed the middle mouse button and it started digging. Well, that makes sense. So there you go. That's what that means. Use the middle mouse button when you've got your mining tools up, which is pretty cool. I'm going to have to put all this back now because it was a nice flat surface. Again, there's use Alt to scroll between ranges, so you can change between short range, long range. Just be aware of if you are that mounting, don't know what it is about videos. That middle mouse button and the scroll wheel is actually really cool. It's automatic. That's what that is. I understand the button. So use the middle mouse button. You press it once and it just automatically mines. That's a really cool tip. Thank you, Clobber, for that tip. That's an amazing tip. Use Alt Scroll to change between 50 meters and 300 plus meters. So as you will eventually, if you do get into mining, you'll get told this in the tutorial, but to find minerals or whatever it is, you need to find them on your scanner first. We'll have a more in-depth mining tutorial, I think, but what you'll see, I haven't upgraded my mining at all. It was something I'm not looking at doing. I did start digging, but whether I'll be able to find the hole again, I don't know. But the mining scanner, so you can actually see on there that something has popped up now. So I just need to find where that was. So you can see on there that there is a line that's now appeared. So if I now change that to the short range, it disappears. On the long range, that's because it's over 100 meters. Now if I was to get within 40 meters of that, that would help me really narrow down where that ore is under the ground. But we'll go into that at a more in a mining video, I think. So if you're running out of inventory space, just put a huge craft job as much as you can, and get more space in your inventory. Now what does that mean? So you press K to open up your crafting. What that means is if you was to then go to elements here, let's have a look, industry, go like that, and then we'll dive down into, maybe you have lots of hematite, I think that's how you say it. If you have lots and lots of hematite, maybe you can just produce a hell of a lot of pure iron, and then that will put it into your crafting list and give you some little bit of extra space as well. And then finally, the last tip that I've had for mining is if the scanner shows you an ore field but you know that everything is gone, it might be possible that there is some more in your neighborhood. Relog and you get rid of the ghost fields. So if you've sort of like found an ore source and you've mined it all, just relog, and then that will sort of like If there is any more there, it will show up. If not, it won't. And then we're going to close out this video soon, so if you've liked these tips, then make sure to like the video, comment your favorite one below, and also, as I said earlier, is there something in particular that you want to know about more in depth? Let me know, and don't forget to subscribe as well. It helps grow the channel, and obviously helps me to produce more video, because it keeps me motivated when I see loads of people coming and subscribing saying, oh, you're awesome, or oh, that was shit, or whatever it is. So finally we got some flight tricks. Since the flight is handled in the client, you can have a sudden stop just by quitting the game with Alt F4 or relog or force respawn. Don't use force respawn, because you then effectively kills you, and you have to it's just not good. You lose everything in your inventory, so I don't recommend force respawn. However, it's a bit of a naughty trick this, but it's been reported as a community help thing. Pressing Alt F4, closing the game, will stop you dead in its tracks. So if you're approaching the ground with like 500 kilometers an hour, don't be shy, and quit the game. Relog and be happy is literally what the tip says. So maybe if you're plummeting to your death, you know, you can slow down your velocity by just closing the game. Might mean that you receive less damage later on. You have to have quick reflexes though, I think, for that one. And then lastly, if your speeder doesn't fly, use the right mouse button on your seat, look for auto configuration and choose flight, and maybe you place stabilizers like wings, but they by default they show into the, well, let's try this. Run default auto configure. All right, that's really cool. I didn't know that was a thing, so I'm learning stuff with you in this game. There's lots of cool little tricks and tips that are dotted around, so yeah. Anyway, that's the end. Thank you very much. I hope you enjoyed this video. I look forward to seeing you in the next one, and I think we're going to start getting more into talent guides and mining guides and flight guides and building guides and everything like that soon, so make sure to subscribe, and there will be more beginner tips videos as I get more community feedback. Love you as always. I will see you in the next one. Much love. Bye bye.